Join us on another adventure with Wild and Free,
Interior Alaska.
If you've been following along, you've seen us level our cabin over and over again and then explain the issues that we were facing with it starting to kind of tilt in the permafrost and possibly slide a little downhill, which was contributing to us needing to re-level time and time again. And then we installed those duckbill anchors in order to secure the cabin and hold it into place so that wouldn't happen again, in theory. And then the next thing that we're working on is installing some reinforcing the walls. So we described how when we cut out the last window, the log was kind of twisted in there and it popped and it forced the wall out a little bit. So to make sure that everything stays where it belongs, doesn't get any worse, and maybe pull it in a little bit more, we're installing some 4x4s on the outside walls and then some cables inside to kind of tie everything together into a nice little bundle so that it's more secure and can withstand more weather and any of the changing permafrost that's in the tundra. You've seen a little bit of this project previously when we ran into all sorts of problems with the materials and tools that we had to complete it. So now that we are on our way back from another weekend of gathering all the correct stuff, we are finally able to put it all together so that we can secure these walls in place. So let's take a look. With the correct size bolts, we were able to put the eye bolts through the top to attach it, and now we are adding the board behind the bottom to kind of bridge that gap where the log sticks out a little bit further with the foundation, and drill the hole and install it there before we put in the rest of the lag bolts throughout the 4x4 to hold it into place before we start anchoring it. First hole was into insulation, so we do it again. Before installing the lag bolts, we pre-drilled holes where they should be lining up so that we could put those into the logs without risk of cracking and splitting our logs, so that it was going to be a little bit sturdier of a structure. Remember, we're trying to do it right this time. Let's see how we do. Now that all of the holes are pre-drilled, we're able to add on several washers and start screwing in the lag screws into the logs of the cabin. And this is going to help hold that big 4x4 in place. As you can see, we have some friends that are helping us out today to get this big chore done before winter strikes. We're super grateful for their help. They've come out a few times. You might remember their faces from the time that they might have been stranded up here, and you can check back to see that featured in another episode. So it's never a dull moment, but they keep coming back out and helping us, and we are forever grateful for that. Progress check. We bedazzled our wall. Yep, that's pretty much that. So this wall was leaning when we cut, I'll try to show you, this log right there. So we cut that log. Actually, there's the one above that. We cut that. Everything moved and the wall started bowing out from that log up. So we decided to brace the wall, pull it back in a little bit, and then on the inside we're gonna have cables running that's gonna tie every corner together so that nothing can really fall over. It's gonna be sturdy. Does it look the best? No. Does it look the worst? No. Is it sturdier? Is it gonna be stronger? Did we just fortify our fortress? Absolutely. Inside, these eye bolts are the ones that are connected to the 4x4s on the outside. And then these ones are just straight through the wall. These ones we're gonna go do the 4x4 over there. and then above the door, we have those ones. So the cables will run from here to here, in this corner, to this corner, this corner, to this corner, and then over there to there. And that way everything is tied together for more stability. You saw bits and pieces of installing these 4x4 support boards on the other side of the wall. So now we are doing it all over again on this side and pretending that we know exactly what we are doing. Step 1 is installing the eye bolt at the very top of the 4x4 that is going to have the wire on the inside of the cabin that stretches from one corner to the other corner, as I showed you. And before we move into step 2, it's just a quick little visit from Bruce, just checking on the progress to make sure that everything is going well before we tell him he needs to get back in the window. Silly dog. After the eye bolt was installed, we were able to hang the 4x4 and then drill the hole through the foundation at the bottom and install the very, very long, large screw there. And after that, we could then start drilling the holes where the lag bolts need to go in line with the logs. And then we repeat the process all over again on the next side, crawl underneath, attach it there at the foundation, and put that bolt on in place, and then pre-drill all of the holes for the lag bolts on the 4x4 that is attached at the top by the eye bolt that's going to be anchored inside. Now that the top and bottom of the 4x4 are anchored and the holes are pre-drilled, it's time to install all of the lag bolts with the washers that's going to hold it in place. Basically, like the other side, we're bedazzling the cabin. No, really, we're adding this for stability so that the inside, it's going to be anchored at the top, and I'll show you that here in just a moment, how those ended up being connected so that these walls are now held together, a little bit sturdier and pulling all around.
An issue we were having is this wall on this side. When we built the cabin, you know, some of the logs aren't perfectly straight, they're warped and bent and whatever. So we used a log PV to bend some of them to make them straight. And then when we cut this window, this log right here specifically, as soon as I cut it, it's like it released a ton of tension. Like the saw almost got stuck and you could hear it and it shifted. And the whole wall kind of bowed out a little bit. I don't think it was ever going to fall over because the 6x6s up here are screwed into the other side, so we kind of have to like tip the whole cabin over. But we were a little worried about it and wanted some extra insurance. So on the outside, I think you saw us put up the 4x4s vertically on either side of the window. And then we ran the cables across on both sides and then on the other side as well, just to kind of tie the whole cabin together. And now, instead of the wall just pulling out, it now pulls the other walls in. Just so now it couldn't even just house squares the whole thing, you would have to pull this way as well.
Over these last few episodes, you've seen us put in a lot of different things in place in order to secure this cabin from sliding down the hillside with the permafrost that's on this tundra. But we also got a new wood stove for the cabin. It's a Blaze King Princess, but we had to make do with what we've got and use this existing pipe that I had laying around to fit this one a little bit better. So we used our Dremel and cut it off in order to fit it nicely. That's why I like leaving different pieces out here, because you never know what you're going to need to make a project work. And so before we wrap up, I just wanted to show you how we are starting to get this new wood stove installed and the issues we ran into other than just popping it in place and hooking it up. It's never as easy as you'd think. And we've got a new wood stove now, though. Little wrap up of all the work that we did. As you heard, we did have some friends out here that were helping us. We got all the cables in around
the top to anchor everything together just for added stability. This one's gonna serve as an amazing drying rack. Might put some lights over top of this one. Can now slide our lantern through that one instead of having it in one place. Who knows, could hang some pots off of that. Like, now we've got all these other options. We did have to rearrange a little bit as well because we did bring out our new Blaze King Princess wood stove. Our other one, as you've heard us say, isn't really that great at staying going over the night, whereas this one will run all night long when you load it up. So that'll be saving us waking up every 3 hours. Huge improvement. We tested it out last night. Super warm, cozy. But for right now, while it's not running, we have the couch now turned this way, and when it is running, we'll angle it over here. I don't know if the boys had mentioned it previously, but we did bring out a TV so maybe we could watch some Christmas movies out here.
And watch Top Gun.
And you watch Top Gun. So our Goal Zero solar-powered battery pack worked incredible, plus Starlink, so we were able to just immediately get in to some online streaming. So we tested that out another weekend, but it's really just for special occasions. But you thought it was pretty cool, so we do have TV capabilities out here essentially now. So just game-changing. Things are evolving. But yeah, so new wood stove, changed setup for a little bit, and then we'll, move it over here as needed, but just kind of opens up all of this space. And weather was pretty crazy, windy, foggy, cloudy, terrible at times, cold, wet, rainy. And now, of course, as the boys always say, when we're getting ready to go, it turns out beautiful. Carter built that epic bonfire pile out there for New Year's Eve, so that's in progress, and he's doing an incredible job. We are just getting packed up and ready to go for the weekend. We had a lot of help. We were super grateful. We made so much progress, and in a minute I'll show you what we did on the back. Another thing we did this weekend was putting in these duckbill anchors. So as you saw, these are little like sharp objects, I don't really know how to describe it, an anchor essentially, and we drove them into the ground so that the cabin can't slide downhill or this way, because as you notice, that's kind of how our sloped area is here. It slopes down and to the side, and so we anchored all of these in from here, here, and here. On the short ones, it does kind of prohibit us from like walking through here and driving through here. This kind of used to be our path, so now we're just gonna have to clean up some of the extra wood and get in the habit of going around and possibly start using our upper trail and parking on that side. So you see, we've got these three here, and that's gonna help it. And then I'll come over here and see the other side. And on this side, we have longer ones angled to prevent it from sliding that way as well and downhill. And now obviously this was our primary walking unloading area, so now we worked on putting a trail over here to go out and around. And then this is the other thing we were talking about as far as our you watched us attach these for added stability. We're trying to keep all of the walls in line where the cables are drawing from inside up top. So this is just added measures we put in this weekend to prevent all of our hard work from literally falling apart and crumbling downhill and everything else. So we did that, feel pretty accomplished. We still have to jack up the middle and fix that blocking a little bit, but we know it's not going to go anywhere now, and the snow's about to fly. We won't be out here for a few weeks. We have other things going on we'll be traveling for over weekends. The scenery is changing. It's getting yellow all around us, yellow behind us, red, and it's been chilly. So snow is just around the corner. Don't know if we'll be out here next time by Snow Machine or the 4Runner once again, but it's officially middle of August and fall.
Thanks for joining us.
Give us a like and subscribe and follow for our next adventures on Wild and Free.
Interior Alaska.